Hello everyone and welcome back to some Kill Team for the channel, and in today's battle report the Vespid Stingwings are going up against the Angels of Death on Beta Decima. With the layout you can see before you, I've forgotten what number it was, but either way it's the one with the additional walkways through the centre, and all the objectives are fairly close. This is the one that is slightly to the left deployment, and one is at the back of this, so it's not going to be visible from here. 2 is dead centre on the middle pillar. And here is the Vespid Stingwings as you get them out of the Hive Storm box. So the front row is all the specialists. We have the Strain Leader, we have the Long Sting, we have the Shade Strain who has kind of like the stealth suit on. We have the Sky Blast and the Swarm Guard. And then we have the support drone, what's it called? Oversight drone. And 5 used to be, you can only have 4, but they've upped it to try and make them better. It didn't work, but who cares? 5 Vespid Warriors. And as far as gear goes, they're taking a heavy barricade, they are taking accelerant, stimulant, convergence, stimulant, and aggression stimulant. So almost all the drugs, plus 1 barricade. And here's the Angels of Death setup for today. So from left to right, camera left to right, we have the Captain, we have the Eliminator Sniper, we have the Assault Intercessor Grenadier, we have the Intercessor Gunner, and then 2 Intercessor Warriors. They're taking ladders, they're taking light barricades, they're taking Purity Seals, and they're taking Chapter Reliquaries as their equipment. And from this angle you can get a better idea of where all 3 objectives are, and the crit op being played is number 6 from the Approved Ops pack, and is called Extraction, which I don't think we've ever done. So, you can do the search action for 1 AP as long as it's not the first turning point. You can't do it while it's the first turning point, you can't do it while in control range of an enemy, and you can't do it if every objective marker has already been searched. Or sorry, if that particular marker has already been searched. But if you are able to do it, 1 objective marker, the active operative controls, is searched. If it's the last objective marker to be searched, that marker becomes the extraction objective marker. Additional rules: the pickup marker action can be performed upon the extraction objective marker. While an operative is carrying that marker, worsen the hit stats of their weapons by 1. It cannot be removed and set up again with more than 6 inches away, and it cannot perform charges or dashes, so repositions only. And the way it scores: whenever a friendly operative performs the search action, you can score 1 VP if it's the first or third objective markers to be searched, or 2 VP if it's the second to be searched that turn. Because I guess if you're searching the second, chances are you're giving up the extraction, so that's why you earn slightly more. At the end of each turning point after the first, if a friendly operative controls the extraction objective marker, which you get only once all objectives are searched for a turn, you score 1 VP, or 2 if it's the 4th turning point. So it's a little complicated, as with many things in Kill Team, but there's a few different ways to score, and you get compensated for not getting the extraction by earning more for doing the middle search. So that's what's going to be played today alongside the kill op and the hidden tac ops that will be revealed when they are relevant. It's 6 inches in from left and right, which I believe I already said. We'll be back with that setup after this quick word from my channel sponsor. This video is sponsored by Noble Knight Games. Check out the video description below for an affiliate link that will take you through to their store, and it will help me out as well. Thanks. And we are all set up and good to go. Here's a view from the Angels of Death side of a table. They're all just together. You can see where their 2 ladders are, and you can hopefully see where the 2 barricades are as well. Remember, on Beta Decima you're allowed to put equipment on vantage, and also on Beta Decima you can't fire in this between the spaces under the gantries. It counts as no line of sight. That's about the only cover you get here, pretty much. Forgot to mention, for the Angels of Death, their chapter tactics, always forget to mention that. They're taking Resolute and Hardy. And I think there was one more thing to mention. Oh yeah, the scouting step. Both sides took Ploy. Angels of Death did Combat Doctrine, specifically the Devastator Doctrine for balanced on targets more than 6 inches away. And the Vespid Stingwings are using, what was it called? Airborne Predator. So after they move using Fly, they get balanced on top of the Lethal 5 they get when they fly, which I think was forgotten in their first time on the table. Speaking of which, we'll give you a line of sight of their side of the table, and then we can get started. And here's how things are looking from the other deployment zone. It's a big line, they're all mixed together, they are hard to tell apart at a glance, but we'll discuss where they move as and when it happens. Because both sides picked Ploy, it was down to a roll-off. The Vespids won the roll-off, but opted not to go first. So we're going into turning point 1, with Angels of Death having first activation. First activation for the Angels of Death was the Assault Intercessor Grenadier, who did a reposition and a dash, getting within control range of one of the light barricades deployed there. Opted to keep his conceal order, Forgot to mention the Angels of Death are going to be with the white dice in this match because the orange dice are going to the orange kill team. Simple enough first activation for the Vespid Stingwings. The Oversight drone activated, kept its conceal and just hopped up with Fly and is hiding behind the heavy barricade with still enough room for at least one Vespid to be there with him. One of the Intercessor warriors activated, climbed the ladder, moved along the gantry, jumped and made it to the other gantry and has taken an engage order and is positioned himself at the bottom of the second ladder that they deployed. Well, we're back over the overly bright side of the table because it's either that or overly dark. So it's one or the other. Actually, that doesn't look too bad from this angle. So we'll go with overly dark. So one of the Vespid warriors activated, did a reposition 6 inches with Fly, landed there for various bonuses, piercing 1 and balanced, I think it was. 1 from the strategy plot and just 1 from the fact of moving during Fly. And that gave him clear line of sight of that warrior who just finished activating, so shot him with his Neuron Blaster. 4 dice, looking for 4s, got 3 normal hits, has piercing 1, and as far as defense goes, you should just be able to make it the dice up there on the platform. It's a 6 and a 4, so a crit save and a normal save, but still 1 normal wound gets through for 3 damage, so that's something. Both sides woke up today and chose violence apparently. The other Intercessor warrior activated, climbed to the top of the first ladder there, and then it just immediately started blasting. They're using Stalker Bolt rifles, so no bonuses on his attacks. 4 dice hitting on 3s. He managed to get 3 hits. That's with the reroll from Devastator Doctrine, because it's more than 6 inches away. And the Vespid warrior was looking for 5 pluses, and got a 1, a 2, and a 3. So nice straight there, but not enough to save you from anything. So the full damage went through, and that is alive to dead in 1 round of bolter fire, because it does 3 per shot and they've got 9 wounds. So he is out of there, but they're an 11 wide kill team, so 1 more kill is required to get on the kill op. The Vespid Long Sting activated, that's their sniper, and he just hopped up behind that heavy barricade that has the drone at it and just ended his turn there. The Intercessor Gunner activated, repositioned, dash up the ladder, across the gap, etc. and jumping the gap between the gantries has ended at the bottom of the second ladder, much like the Intercessor Warrior did earlier in the turn. The Vespid Shade Strain was up next for them, and he moved from roughly the exact left of the camera to where you can see him, smack dab in the middle there, and he's basically where the one that just died is standing. However, the difference is if he has a conceal order, he can't be targeted unless you're within 6 inches, so he is a lot safer. He also has a better save, a 3+ save. So for this turning point at least, no one's going to get close enough to target him. The Eliminator Sniper clambered up here and is behind the light barricade. He's keeping his conceal order because he can shoot out of conceal thanks to that silent weapon of his, and just has a nice line of sight of the lower half of the table from where he's sitting. One of the other Vespid warriors activated, and their movement of 6 inches is enough to clear the gap as long as they're up to the edge when they started, which he was, so he has flown over there. He might actually be a bit too far forwards. Yeah, he's going to have to come back a little bit, but he does clear the gap. Never mind, he does not need to come back, forgot he did a dash afterwards, and he's keeping his conceal order. Final activation of the turning point for the Angels of Death was their captain, who just climbed up the ladder and is just staying on that first gantry with the sniper and one of the warriors. Kept his conceal order because his threat range is only 8 inches with that plasma pistol, so he's just keeping that to try and be a bit of a nuisance. He is in the open though, you could absolutely get a shot on him if you move into the right position. So there was a lot of Vespid movement there because it's just onto counteractions for the Angels of Death, so we're just covering it in groups as and when something is necessary. 3 of the warriors in total have made that jump across the hazardous terrain over to this gantry here, so one had done it earlier. This one followed suit with a reposition, then a dash once he was over there. This one repositioned only, did not dash, thinking that that was enough to be safe, but the Eliminator Sniper can see him, and the overhang of the central thing does not seem to have the same traits as the gaps underneath the gantries, so it does seem like he can be targeted because he's in the open line of sight, so that's going to trigger the Eliminator Sniper's counteraction. And so the sniper managed to easily take the head off of that Vespid. 4 dice hitting on 2s, he was firing mortis rounds, looking for crits to do true damage with devastating. It has piercing 1, silent, but didn't manage to get any crits. Did get 4 hits through, however. Did need to use the Devastator Doctrine, but still managed it. Vespid Stingwing, rolling 2 defense dice, looking for 5s plus. Rolled a 1 and a 2. Defense dice are not coming through for them, so the mortis round does do less on a normal hit, I think, though, right? Either way, it's still enough. No, it's 3, yeah, so That was 12 damage in total to a 9 wound model. So, whoop, that warrior is out of there, and that puts the Angels of Death on the scoreboard with the kill up level 1. And a couple more activations later. The Sky Blast, I think it is, or the Swarm Guard, one of the two. The one that's the grenade launcher, not the flamethrower, has moved up onto that platform, as has one of the warriors. He is also in the open, but the sniper's already counteracted, so can't do it again, and no one else can see him that has an engage order, so he's actually relatively safe there. So now it's over to the Strain Leader, and is that a warrior? It's so hard to tell. No, that is the Sky Blast. That's the one with the flamethrower. Whichever one that is. Sorry, Swarm Guard. So it's the Swarm Guard and the Strain Leader still to go. And it was just 2 cautious repositions for both of them. One hopped up onto the gantry, another one moved to the very edge of the gantry down there. So that takes us to the end of Turning Point 1. Bit more fighting than usual for Turning Point 1, but I guess that's Beta Decima and its distinct lack of anything to hide behind for you. So the Angels of Death managed to get on the scoreboard by getting kill up level 1 for killing 2 of the 5 Vespid warriors. So that's the only scoring to speak of. No scoring for the crit up turn 1, no tac ops either. So we'll go straight into turn 2, see if tac ops get revealed then or later on, and see what happens. Let's move on. So at the top of Turning Point 2, the Angels of Death are going first, and they're spending 2 command points on 2 strategic ploys. They're doing Combat Doctrine again, but this time with the Tactical Doctrine, so they get the balanced if it's a target within 6 inches rather than over 6 inches. And they're using Indomitus, which means if you have 2 fails in your save roll, you can discard 1 to retain the other as a normal success. So they're playing full tanky, especially with that sturdy chapter tactic as well. And resolute, so we don't care about injury. So the Vespid Stingwings are spending on 2 strategy ploys again. The same one again, which was the aerial agility, and they're also doing the Vespid Stingwings are doing aerial agility and airborne predators. So the same one as the one they did in Turning Point 1 for that benefit, but then also the one where if the target that's shooting at them has moved or is counteracting, they can ignore 1 normal damage die on a 5+. At max 1 die per combat resolution. So a little bit of defense for their side as well. And Turning Point 2 proper got started with the Eliminator Sniper activating, because of course he basically had a free kill waiting for him. He fired a Mortis round at that warrior who would have moved had they had first activation. He got a crit, which means Devastating 3 kicks in, does that damage before anything else is resolved, leaving it on 6 wounds remaining. He did manage to roll a crit on the save though. That's the first successful save the Vespid have had, so that's good, which counters the normal damage of the crit going through, but what's left over there all goes through, so more than enough. That yet another head has been claimed. That's 3 of the 5 warriors dead for the Vespid, and he's not doing anything else, so that's him done, barring a counteraction later in the turn. First activation for the Vespid Stingwings was the Shade Strain, who immediately did the Plant Beacon icon action rather, and has revealed their tac op. There is the various text. You can pause and read for yourself if you want reminded of this, but we have seen it before. So he placed it entirely within their territory, outside of 4 inches beyond their drop zone. So that is 1 VP instantly. He then, and that costs 1 EP, so he spent his other action point just moving 6 inches and is barely touching the control radius of Objective 1, but can't interact with it. Still no tac op reveal for the Angels of Death yet. They activated one of their Intercessor Warriors, the one who was wounded in turn 1. He did a reposition which originally put him here. He did the search action on Objective 2 because it's the first or third objective marker searched. With that action it scores 1 VP. He then did a dash. So the next objective marker that gets searched this turn is worth 2. And I don't know if they reset actually. They might not reset. So once the extraction is available, it might just be available. We need to read that. Sometimes the dice gods just decide that one team is destined to lose, and that is definitely the Vespid. One of the warriors activated, flew up onto the middle cylinder thing, whatever it's called, and shot the wounded warrior with his neutron blaster, 4 dice hitting on 4s, and with a balanced reroll from that strategy ploy, still managed not to get a single one. So that's the kind of match it's gonna be. The Intercessor Gunner, who had been at the base of his ladder, repositioned up, shot his Stalker Bolt Rifle the lesser profile because he's moved into the Vespid Stingwing there, managing to get 3 hits through, and the save roll was actually pretty good this time. He got a crit and a normal, so that counters, actually these were all hits, that was a 3 originally. Counters those two normal hits get through. Oh, there is the chance though of the ignoring, because he had already flown. Yeah, one of them gets ignored, so one of them gets through, one of them does not, for 3 damage, but Astartes, he gets to fire again. So unfortunately the aerial agility strategic ploy is once per activation, not once per attack action, so it can't be used again, and that's going to cost him. The second set of shooting from the Space Marine was not as good, even with the balance reroll. Only got 2 normal hits through, but the save roll was an absolute whiff. It inspired a brief moment of hope, and then dashed it expertly. 3 damage on the first attack, that's 6 more, that's precisely enough. He is out of there. 4 out of 5 warriors dead. All their specialists are alive though. That does also put the Angels of Death up to the 2nd kill grade now, with 4 dead out of 11. Sure, it was largely out of frustration. What happened next? The final Vespid warrior flew up there and tried to kill that wounded marine again, and managed to roll equally as bad as every single roll almost has been for the Vespids. 3 misses, 1 normal hit, did fly though, so it has all those benefits kicked in, and the Space Marine rolled 1 success on his 2 dice after piercing, so no damage again. Yeah, that's really, really bad. That's so hard to deal with. Yeah, the Vespid are terrible. The Space Marine captain decided to join in the fun by repositioning and, well, dashing and repositioning to get up there, and then shot his plasma pistol. He got a crit in 2 hits and has piercing built in. The Vespid did not roll anything on his 2 remaining saves. He rolled a 2 and a 1. Already rolled for whether or not a normal hit can be ignored on those 5 pluses from the strategic ploy. No, they cannot, which means all of it gets through. The crit does 5 damage, and it's a total of 6 across 2 other normal hits. So 11 damage to a 9 wound model equals all the warriors dead, leaving only the specialists alive and the drone for the Vespid. That is very rough. It actually does just keep getting worse for the Vespids. That 4+ to hit is just so bad. The Skyblast activated, flew up onto the platform, fired his neutron grenade launcher at the captain because it's blast 2, so it actually catches the captain, the warrior, and the intercessor gunner. They all got caught. He does get to put down his neutron bombardment token. Not sure what the correct token for that is, so it's just going to be that orange circle. And that means any enemy model that moves within 2 of it during its turn takes D3 damage. So that at least guarantees some damage later. Not right now though, because every single roll, 4 dice hitting on 4s with devastating 2 on any crits, against all 3 of those models, rolling each individually, there was not a single success. No, sorry, there was 1 success, and it was blocked, and it wasn't a crit. So that is horrific. This team is bad enough. It does not need such terrible dice luck on top of that. It's just, I knew it would be rough for them on Beta Decima. That's partially why I wanted to try them. I wanted to see how painful it would be, and it is like pulling teeth. So yeah, if you want to experience a similar pain, just use Vespid on Beta Decima. The other Intercessor Warrior activated, hopped between gantries, did a dash to the edge of it, and that put the Shade Strain, who is more in focus than he is, in 6 inches, so you could be targeted. So shot at him. Moved though, so no benefits of the Stalker Bolt Rifle. Got a crit in 3 hits despite that. Shade Strain's on a 3+ save, not a 5+ save, so there is that. He's immune to piercing, not that that was relevant here. Managed to get 2 normal successes. He is negating 2 of those normal hits, leaving a crit and a hit. Already rolled for the strategic ploy to see if that hit can be ignored, and yes it did. So only the crit got through for 4 damage of his 9 health. So he's got 5 wounds left, and he can't fire again, so he is actually going to stay alive. The Swarm Guard did a reposition and managed to get that far up the gantry where you can see them, and that put that warrior just within 8, so he shot his flamethrower across the gap, hitting on 2s, so he got 3 hits through. I think you can just about make out the Space Marine's saves. He rolled a 4 and 2 1s, but Indomitus means he can discard one of those 1s and count it as a success. So he rolled 2 successes, meaning only 1 hit got through for 3 whole damage. That's 6 damage in total, I think, that the Vespids have managed to do. The Strain Leader activated and did a reposition and a dash, and is basically just egging on the sniper to take the shot at this point. Can't yet though, because of how many people are dead. I'm not even sure counteractions are going to happen, because there's still the long sting and the drone, and there's only one activation left for the marines. So, oh yeah, there'll be one counteraction then, won't there? So he's probably still in danger. Well, rather than wait for the Eliminator Sniper, the Assault Intercessor Grenadier had other ideas. Repositioned, did the search action, and that's the second objective search now. So that's worth 2 technically, but presumably the cap of 2 from attack op, a crit op in any one turn still applies, because that would actually add up to 3 earned this turn. So presumably it's still 2. Then he shot into the Strain Leader, got 4 hits through, one of them being a crit. Strain Leader managed to get 1 save, already rolled for that op, the ploy rather, to negate one of these normals, and it worked. So a crit and a normal still get through for 4, 5, 6, 7 damage of his 9 wounds. Oh, 10, sorry, he has 10. It was finally the Long Sting's chance to shine. He took an engage order because he can't fire while with a conceal, and shot into the Assault Grenadier, and he hits on 3s. So, and he has lethal 5+. So that's 2 normal hits and a crit. Unfortunately, the dice just aren't on their side. The Assault Intercessor Grenadier rolled a crit and 2 normal saves, negating all of that. However, he does have Devastating 2, so that is true damage that gets done by the crit, so he at least did 2 damage. It also has a rule called Neuron Fragment, so in the ready step of each turning point, he takes D3 damage for each neuron fragment lodged in him. Does it go away afterwards? It doesn't say that, no, so I think that just builds up. So at least that's damage getting paid forwards, but not nearly enough. And unfortunately, the stupid drone needs to activate, which means a counteraction is allowed to happen, and the sniper activated shot at the Strain Leader didn't even bother rolling defense, because that crit means Devastating 3 kicks in, and that is how many wounds he has left. So the Strain Leader is leading nothing. That is a total of 2, 4, 5, that's 6 dead, and 1 more needs to die before they go up another kill grade. The drone's just activating and unactivating because, you know, what is there to be done? We're moving into the end of this turn into turning point 3. Just going to roll for the D3 damage on that marine now, just because it should technically be at the top of the next turn. He's not going to die from it, so we're just doing it on camera now. Oh, I say on camera, it rolled off, but it is going to be the full 3 damage, so that's something. So at the end of turning point 2, the Vespid Stingwings are on the board. Yay! They scored 1 VP for their attack op of placing a beacon, and that's it. They just cannot kill anything, and they can't really do anything. It's pretty awful. They are the worst for a reason. The Angels of Death, they scored 2 from the crit op there, assuming that the cap is still 2, otherwise it would have been 3. They are at kill grade level 2 now, and they are revealing their attack op, which was Secure Center. So this one has been seen before. Again, hopefully you can just pause and read if you want the specifics, but they're scoring the full 2 VP because the APL of models on the center line are greater than the enemies, 3 versus 2 because the Shade Strain is still alive, and within 3 of the center it's 9 versus 2, sorry. So they've scored the full 2, meaning they're at 6 VP. So as we go into turning point 3, heading, it's like a train just speeding towards a tabling. It is 6 playing 1 in the Angels of Death's favour. So let's see if it ends on turn 3. So as we begin turning point 3, the Angels of Death won the roll, because of course they did. So they are going first, and they're going to do something of damage. In terms of strategic ploys, both sides are playing the exact same 2 each. So same again, and let the carnage recommence. Wasn't sure any fisticuffs were going to happen, but they did. The Space Marine Captain activated. He took 1 damage from the neutron fragment, or whatever it was called, the fallout, sorry, and charged into the Sky Blast because he wanted to use that Power Fist. And boy howdy did he use it, because he got 3 crits and a hit. Claws from the Sky Blast got a crit, and that's it, because I think they're on 4s again. Yeah, they're always on 4s. So 1 crit goes through for 7 damage. Yeah, 7 damage. Almost one-shotting him. He gets a crit back, then takes a crit and gets splatted. His crit does 4 damage. So a total of 5 damage to the captain, counting the damage he was near. That does leave him on 10, so there you go. That's not bad. That's worth the life it was just lost, I'm sure. Is that 7 dead now? 2, 4, 6, 7. Yep, so that is another kill grade for the Space Marines. The Shade Strain activated, performed the search action on objective, whatever that was that 3? It's the third one to be searched, so it's worth 1 VP just doing that action. It also means that's where the extraction target is. Because of one of the drugs they brought, they're allowed to do a pickup marker action without needing a communion point, and he did that. So he's holding the objective, and he's not going to hold it for long, but hey, he's holding it. Well, we are actually rocketing towards a tabling at this rate, so the Intercessor Warrior activated, moved to the edge there, shooting from vantage against the Flamethrower Vespid there, and managed to get 2 crits, 2 misses, and no saves at all, let alone a crit save down here from the Vespid. Means that's 8 damage through, and now he's going to fire again and kill him. Yep, and with another crit being rolled and nothing to answer to, I guess technically both of those could be used up to counter the crit, but then 2 normals are getting through and only 1 needs to get through, so even the strategic ploy won't help, so yeah. He's out of there! Man, the dice are just not being friendly. The Longsting tried to kill the Grenadier again, hitting on 3s, managed to get 2 hits through, no crits, so no devastating, and it was easily saved. Does lodge another neuron fragment in him, so he's going to be taking 2d3 of damage, if indeed this even goes to turning point 4. Not enough to kill him. And boom, that is all she wrote for the Shade Strain as this warrior fires. He stood still with a Stalker Bolt Rifle, so he's got lethal 5+, so that is 2 crits on top of the natural crit rolled. 1 save crit was achieved, but that doesn't matter because the 2 that got through is 8 wounds and he had 5 left, so he is out of there. He technically drops the marker for the crit up. It's probably not going to matter. It's just the long sting and the drone left, and once the long sting goes, I think we'll just call it. Oh, just as a matter of note, with his remaining action, since the shoot action was just the first thing he did, that Marine repositioned to where you can see him and then dash to get to where you can see him. Not enough to pick up the theoretical marker that should be there this round. And I think that's going to be all she wrote for the Shade Strain. The Eliminator Sniper activated, took a shot at me. He's behind cover, so he's getting an automatic success on his save, but yeah, the sniper is hitting on 2s. He got a crit, so that is 3 damage through automatically, leaving the long sting with 6, and then you've still got the crit and 2 hits. His saves are not in your camera view, but he rolled a 4-2, or sorry, he retained 1 and then rolled a 2 and a 1, so he didn't save anything. And even if the strategic ploy negated one of them, the 3 damage from devastating plus the total of 6 from those 2 is still enough that he's dead. So I think we're just going to call it there. That leaves just the drone, who by the way just didn't do anything because he can't do anything. So yes, technically he should have activated in between there, but he did and just didn't do anything. So that's basically a tabling, and yeah, there's no need to carry on, I think. So yeah, we're going to call it there at the tail end of turn 3, with the Vespids just getting absolutely smushed like the bugs they are. So as I think I mentioned at some point mid video, I knew using Vespids on Beta Decima was a death sentence. I just wanted to see how bad it was. I don't think the dice needed to be as cruel as they were. I think they would have done fine failing without that, but just not being able to roll 4 pluses ever, or 5 pluses on saves, just makes them so terrible. Second time ever using the Vespid, and they're just as bad, maybe even worse, like because of the dice luck. This time the Space Marines dice were on fire, and yeah, it was an absolute massacre. The Space Marines won with ease. We don't really need to go over points, so we're not going to bother. They went into this turn leading 6-1. The Vespids technically earned 1 more there from doing the search action, so that put them at 2. But by the end of the turn, because technically you are meant to play on even in the event of a tabling, they would fully score their tack up again, and they could pick up the marker in turning point 4 to get the 2 for the crit up in turn 4, and then score another 2 on the tack up, and they're up to kill grade 4. So yeah, it's a smushing, so there's no need to go over the individual points. Good job, Angels of Death. Poor showing from the Vespids. They're really, really bad. They are bad, and I knew they'd be bad here. But now I really know, because I was curious. I thought, oh, there's lots of firing lines. But they just couldn't kill a Space Marine. 4 of them if you count the Grenadier one, the Sky Blast. 4 of them tried to kill a Marine with 11 wounds left and did literally nothing to him. Literally nothing. Using the word correctly. They just could not roll past his saves. They couldn't roll 4 pluses, and his saves were on fire. That, I mean, that's nothing to do with their team, technically. That's just really, really bad dice luck, I suppose. But when you're needing those higher numbers, you really feel it if the dice aren't on your side. Anyway, that is going to do it. I forgot to say at the top of the video, but this series is available first to channel members, so hello channel members. I hope you enjoyed that massacre, and we'll be back again with another one soon. Thank you for the additional support. If you want to show some free support, liking, commenting helps. Everyone who isn't a channel member will be seeing this about a week after they have. You can also just consider pressing the thanks button, or check out the channel sponsor via the affiliate link. Pick up some kill team for yourself. If you do that via the link, I get compensated, and that helps keep the channel running. Hope you enjoyed. See you in about a week for another one, and it'll be a long time before you see the Vespids again, I think. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Ta-ta for now.